Hey everybody, welcome. I'm glad you're watching this video today as we try to provide you with information, resources, and tips to help you along your job search journey that you're going through right now. And I'm glad to welcome Bryan Lake with me. Hey Bryan, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How you doing? How you holding up?
I'm doing great, thank you. It's a new world out there, that's for sure, right?
Yeah.
A little crazy. So hey Bryan, why don't you tell everybody who's watching this video who you are, what you do, and who you serve?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Bryan Lake. I work for a company called Sales Consultants of Grand Rapids. We're a executive search firm that specializes in building materials and commercial interior products. So I handle the interior product side of the business and work with sales management, executive, marketing, product management, design candidates nationally, and in a number of different product categories.
Okay, that's great. A lot of really good expertise in a very important community for us right now, the built environment and commercial interiors. So that's great. How long have you been a recruiter, Bryan?
Going on 12 years.
Okay, so you and I met years ago. I can't remember exactly where we met, whether we talked on the phone or met somewhere, but I knew you've been at Sales Consultant Grand Rapids a long time.
Yeah, about 11 years of the 12.
And you're kind of like right in the hotbed of recruiting in the furniture business, aren't you?
Yeah. So I really specialize and focus mainly in commercial furniture.
Sure.
And then outstretch that into other product categories by way of the other team members on within our organization and some of the things that I've done in the past with clients of mine.
Okay. I mean, you just have to drive like 10 or 15 minutes and you're at a client's front door, right?
Yeah. Stone's throw from Steelcase, Miller, Hayworth, the whole shebang.
Yeah, I mean, the list goes on about how many of them are in West Michigan. So,
Yeah.
well, hey, listen, I'm really glad that you joined me today. Thanks so much for being here with me. And, I really want to talk about some things that are going on in our world right now. Obviously, we know that this whole COVID-19 thing is really impacting the world and each and every one of us, as well as our industry. And it's really starting, I think, to make its impact in our industry. And the unemployment rate is going to continue to rise over the next few months. There's no doubt about that. And as you and I both know, there are a lot of very talented and smart and creative people out there that are unfortunately right now looking for employment. And some of them haven't looked for a job in 5, 10, or even 15 years because they work for the same company for, so long or that long. So the first question I'd like to ask you is, what are your thoughts about the current state of hiring in our industry? And what are you really seeing out there?
So we're seeing temporary paralysis. So a lot of organizations are just in a holding pattern, waiting until things clear up and the economy gets going again to then press play and restart any level of search that they had going on prior to, or continue an interview process, or in some cases start someone that's already accepted an offer. They just have a TBD as far as start date at this moment.
So people have just kind of hit the pause button a little bit.
For the most part, there are still companies that are out there that are hiring, that are going through the process, that are stacking up candidates, talking to them, having real fruitful conversations, much like we are by way of Zoom or some other platform, and then getting to the point where they say, okay, once we get started, this is what we're going to do, and this is the offer we can make, et cetera, et cetera. But some others, larger organizations, just a corporate mandate or policy, and they're stuck in the mud.
Yeah, no, it's very understandable at the moment. And without revealing any trade secrets, is there a certain vertical that you see hiring the most? Like, is it sales, or is it production, or is it support? Is there a vertical that you see that there's still activity happening in out there?
As far as job title, not necessarily. I think it's company by company and the industries in which they serve and whether they're deemed necessary and important to the continuation of growth in the economy. So there are, certain manufacturers that do business with the government that are still 100% churn and burn, and some that are in healthcare that are critical to the continuation of everything that's going on. So they're continuing. So you really got to find those organizations if you need something right now, and begin to touch base with the people that are there.
So I'm going to recap what I just heard you say for just a minute for people watching this video, which is research. You got to do your research.
Yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate there are pauses on hiring right now in a lot of different companies or by a lot of different companies in a lot of different roles. But there are companies still hiring, and you need to, as the candidate looking for a job, you need to do your research. And in doing that, you need to pay attention to the arenas or the areas that people are spending money. And you just identified two. I'm sure there are more, but you identified government and healthcare. So if you focus in that space and companies that really focus and serve that space, then you're going to see more activity as it relates to the hiring right now.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, that's great. So let me ask you a few questions. And this is all about providing tips and information to the people looking for a job. So, you know, what kind of tips would you give a candidate or a job seeker right now about communicating with you during a crisis and during the times we're in right now?
Yeah, so there are a lot of people that are reaching out. So I think it's important that you stand out in some way, shape, or form, that you're quick in the communication back and forth, and that you supply as much information as you possibly can. So much about what we do as recruiters is work on behalf of clients and companies that are looking to attract talent. And I'm sure myself, along with others in my business, are doing everything they can, at least during this time, to help people that are looking to make transitions. And it's those people that spend the time talking with me, letting me learn their personality, letting me learn what it is they're good at and what they want to do and what they're open to, that's really going to allow us to really look across all the organizations that we do business with, maybe not just in one particular product category, but all of them, to see if there could be a position to get them out in front of, having some conversations, because you just never know where a job is going to come from.
All right. So you dropped 4 points that I wrote down that I thought were really good. And the first one is, in communicating with the recruiter, this is not one of the points, but you want to have a conversation with them. You want to be able to talk to them, even though you may not have certain positions, you still want to talk to them. And there are a lot of people reaching out. So the 4 points that you said were: stand out. So be sure you're standing out, whether that's with your resume or with your email intro or with the professionalism of your phone call and your voicemail and things like that. Then you said, be quick to communicate. So what I'm picking up with that is, if you email them and say, hey, let's set up a time to talk on Wednesday of next week, and it's 48 hours before you hear back from them, you probably push them to the back of the list. Would that be accurate? Or close?
Yes and no.
Okay.
You know, it depends on how many other people are reaching out.
Okay.
In that 48 hours, there are other people we're having conversations with. That's not to say that I wouldn't, or anyone else wouldn't, still want to talk to that person. But you know, it's important, if you're really committed to finding something new, you'll make the time to talk to a resource like a recruiter or a potential company that you want to go to work for, or any other resource that's out there.
Okay, that's great. So, and then so stand out, quick to communicate. The third one was provide detailed information. So could you expand on that just a little bit? What do you mean by detailed information?
Yeah, that's really important. And I think that really folds into the resume and then on into your conversations. So you've got to provide the detail of what you've done and what you've been successful at. In many cases, I see resumes that are full of job descriptions. I have a pretty good sense for what you do at this point, being in the industry as long as I have been. I want to know how well you've done it. I want to know how you've grown your territory from X to Y, or the projects that you've worked on from a design standpoint, or the major accounts that you've worked on, how you've grown within your career, things you've learned, things you like, things you don't like, that sort of thing. And in many cases, the resume can say some of that, but it can't say all of it. And so that's where that conversation comes in, and that's really where we can add value.
All right. So there's a lot of information in that little nugget right there of 30 seconds that he just said. So if you're watching this video, I'm going to encourage you to pause it and replay it, or back it about 30 seconds and listen to what Bryan said again about providing detailed information. And one of the things you said was, how much you grew your market or how much you grew your sales. So I grew my sales from 5 million to 7 million in 24 months. That's one very broad topic. But you also, what I heard was you kind of want to know how, just a little bit, a couple of bullet points underneath that of how you did that. Not just I exceeded my quota by 167%. You want to know a little bit of how they did it.
Yeah, and there's usually a story behind it, and you don't have to put a story in the resume. But it is by way of your connections, by way of the people that you know in your network, that you were successful. So who is it that you work with? If you're in the architectural and design community, have you called on Gensler and HOK and AI and all these companies in the past? Are they in the resume? Or if you're calling on major accounts, I've done work with Silicon Valley companies like Google and Facebook and Cisco and, et cetera, et cetera. It's that type of information that's very helpful for us. To know exactly where you've been and then how well you've achieved it while you were there.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to recap so far. We've got stand out, be quick to communicate, provide detailed information in your resume and in the conversation when you get there. And then what you're really looking to see is that person's personality. You want them to come out in the call and you want to see get to know the real them, not some stoic make-believe image, right? You want to get to know the real them. And the reason being, what I heard you say, the reason being is you're trying to listen closely enough to match personality to potential job or verticals within your organization that candidate might fit. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, I think that's a part of it. Every company itself has its unique culture, and each city has its unique culture even within that company. And so it's important to understand what that person's all about. Just you be you on the phone, and let's get to know one another. And I can from there say, okay, this makes some sense. Like the person that you'd be reporting to also likes this, and also talks this way, and also spends their weekends doing this or that. So there's some rapport and some information you can even gather just by way of the conversations that we're having.
Sure. So as a professional coach, the terminology that I would wrap around that is authenticity. Just be authentically you. And when you're interviewing with people, guys, just be who you are, because Bryan, from a successful longtime recruiter, is telling you, I need to get to know you. I want to get to know you so I can match you with the right company, with the right job. And it may not just be furniture. You may called for furniture, but one of my colleagues might be in the building industry recruiting for somebody that we think you might fit well with. So at least let me get to know your personality a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Those are great tips. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to recap them just one more time for everybody that's listening. Stand out, quick to communicate, detailed information in your resume, and be sure that your personality comes through in your conversations. So, Bryan, I want to ask you a couple more questions. If you got a few more minutes to hang out with us, I'll check our time here. You got a few more minutes?
Yeah.
All right. So these are like opinion questions. Yeah. Resumes. You want a picture on the resume?
I used to say no. I'm kind of coming around to yes. Part of me just kind of thinks that's neat. I mean, for forever and ever, it was taboo. And, but I think it makes you stand out. It's unique. It's different. If there's just different creative ways that you can do it, especially in our business, which is so design focused. And, I just think it's just a little something extra.
All right. So you tied it right back to one of your first tips, which is stand out. So a picture and a resume, not a bad idea. Go ahead and do it. Be brave. Make your resume stand out. So, when I was doing resumes, I haven't done a resume and I couldn't tell you how long. And they were all very text heavy, and it was text after text after text, and a lot of it was fluff, and you had all these bullet points at the top, experienced leader, sales achiever, growth focus, like black bullet points, and it was on a white piece of paper, basically.
Yeah.
In today's world, in social media, in today's world of technology, there are tons of templates out there and tons of resources. So picture on the resume is not a bad thing, so include it. What do you think about colors? Like, reds and blues what do you think about colors making the resume stand out as well? Or should it stay more black and white and gray?
I think to my earlier point, you be you. If that's your brand, if that's who you are, if you like color, add some color to it, as long as it's tastefully done and, doesn't look like, a Jackson Pollock. I think you'd be fine.
Okay. Well, if it's a Jackson Pollock look, maybe they could sign it for you and you could frame it. Right?
Maybe they'll get some money for it.
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. One day, right? So again, let your personality come out in the resume. So if you're a colorful person, if you're a creative and you're a designer or a graphic designer or an architect or somebody, and you're real creative, then let that come through in your resume. So tips about sizing of fonts or bolding or anything like that on the resume they should pay attention to?
As long as you're consistent with it, I don't think it really matters one way or another. When you begin to bold certain things and not other things, or have some italicis in different areas, that's when it kind of gets a little junky. You want to be able to read it. You want it to be aesthetically pleasing. And a lot of that just goes into having consistency in the resume itself.
Okay. That's great. So consistency, it's a great word, and consistency, as we know, compounds over time. So the more consistent you are, the better off you're going to be. And I want to draw back to something that you said in the very beginning, which was commitment. And so let's hang out with commitment for just a second. Because I tell people when they call me to let me coach them, if you will, through job processes or recruiting processes, I tell them finding a job is a full-time job. Do you agree, disagree? What are your thoughts on that?
I've heard that a lot. It can be. It can certainly be a full-time job. And for those that are looking for something new, I think you probably treat it as though it's your full-time job. You're active. Once you get the resume all set, you're active in your communication with recruiters. You're finding opportunities to post relevant and good information on LinkedIn. You're commenting on different things that other people are doing. It's just a continued introduction of yourself on a daily basis to a lot of different people. Because there's no way for me to know what you did yesterday unless I saw what you did yesterday by way of a post. So, just continue to get out there, continue to be prevalent, and you'll have a higher likelihood of striking gold than just sitting around and hoping and praying.
Okay. So again, back this up 15 seconds and listen to what Bryan said again, because it's really great information. It's about being engaged. You talked about engagement, because you get a resume and you called it out. You're going to go to LinkedIn and you're going to look them up. Right. And you're going to look at what their activity level is, and you're going to look at their profile, and you're going to look at what they're commenting on, the types of comments. They're going to look for any value they're adding, what posts that they're sharing, and those kinds of things. So you're looking for engagement from them to see the kind of person that they are.
Yeah, not only am I doing that, but any potential employer is going to do that as well. They're going to check you out on LinkedIn and see what you like and what you don't like, and they're going to see what you're commenting on and what types of pictures you've had up in the past and all of that. I mean, they want to know what they're getting themselves into. So the more that you can provide professional and relevant information that helps people, the more likely you are to get an interview. And at that point, it's up to you. Your time to shine.
All right. That's great. So I'm going to recap: professional, relevant information, and they're looking. So I find myself unemployed. I got laid off. I haven't looked for a job in 10 years. I watched this video, or I learned about you from somebody else. What's the best way? What's the best way for me to reach you? And what's the first step, I guess, I take? I'm unemployed. I'm looking for a job. I see Bryan on this video. How do I reach out to you? What's the best way?
The easiest way to get me personally is to just hit me up on LinkedIn.
Okay. So
I'm
right. I'm going to let you give that information in just a second, but I want you to put the hat on of like, I'm the candidate. I'm looking for a job and I want to meet you, and I don't know you and you don't know me. Where's the first place, or what's the first step I should do to connect with you? Is it LinkedIn, or is it email or a phone call? What's my first action step?
Yeah, the first action step again is to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Just send me a connection request, send me a message, send me an email, whatever it happens to be. I check those as often as I do my emails, but my emails themselves are also swamped with emails from coworkers and emails from other potential vendors of ours and clients of mine. And there's just so much business going on within my emails themselves.
Sure.
LinkedIn is really going to give you the best opportunity to reach out to me, have some engaging back and forth discussion. And then at that point, we can set up a time to have a call and go from there.
Okay. So reach out on LinkedIn, send a LinkedIn connection. And if you watched the LinkedIn video the other day, or if you've watched it so far, you'll see and you'll remember from that video, send a LinkedIn connection request with a note. Let Bryan know why you're reaching out to him. Just don't send a blind LinkedIn request to him. And if you're sending a LinkedIn request to him and you don't have a profile picture, yeah, that's not a good thing either. Go back and watch that video, okay? Put a note in there to engage in the conversation, because one of the things you said was it's a focused place for you that's not cluttered with a whole bunch of other stuff.
Correct. You got it.
So do I post my resume out in the public world? Do I post it online? Do I fill it? Do I make the CVS form, I think is what it's called, and post it on the job boards? Do I post it on LinkedIn? Do I do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you're in a position looking for something, you take advantage of every single platform that you can possibly take advantage of. I think you attach it to your LinkedIn profile, obviously. You put it out on the job boards. You send it to former coworkers of yours. You send it to your church pastor. You send it to just about anybody and everybody. The name of the game is networking, and you just don't know where a job is going to come from. And so I think it's to your advantage to take your information and spread it as far and wide as you possibly can.
Okay. That is one of the best things that you have said in the whole time we've been together is network. Make connections with people and share with people that you are looking for a job, especially if you're unemployed. Get your mindset right. Focus on the fact that I need to get a job. My life, my family's life depends on me getting a job, and network. Set aside time every day to reach out to people with an email, send your resume, post it on the job boards, let people know, because other people know about jobs that you may not know about, right? And so that whole networking of, because I get calls all the time from people saying, hey, we're looking for somebody. Do you know this? Or I get calls from recruiters that say, hey, are you looking, or do you know anybody that fits this criteria? And everybody that sends me a resume, I keep it so in a folder just so I have it to refer back to, but keep networking, reaching out to people, telling people, and spread the word, because word of mouth is one of the best ways that you can market yourself. Right
on.
Okay, Bryan, we've been on the phone, or we've been together now for, about 20 minutes or so. So thanks so much. Any last parting tips that you want to impart with people watching this video?
Stay positive. Stay positive. Find joy in the little things. Find joy in a telephone call. Find joy in a short conversation. Unemployment is no fun. It's not any fun, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. There are so many people that are in the same situation, 15 plus million. So find the opportunity when you get it to be happy that you found something to submit your resume to, or someone called you back, or you had a good conversation with a recruiter. Just that type of joy, I think, really projects itself into the type of individual that you are. And I think it would help certainly keep your spirits up and hopefully find an opportunity faster.
That's great, man. I absolutely love it. Stay positive, get your mindset right, find the joy in the situation, and just go out there and connect with people, network with people, and be joyful about it, because it's going to come through when they're talking to you. And don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed that you're unemployed. There are over 15 million people right now today unemployed, and that number is going to be growing every day. So don't be ashamed that you're unemployed. It's okay. 100%. Right now, it's absolutely okay. Don't be ashamed, and go out there and network and find the joy in what you're doing. Bryan?
Absolutely.
I so appreciate you hopping on with me today to share some tips and information with the community, people that are watching this. And obviously I wish them all the best of luck, and they know how to get in touch with me, but tell them what's the best way for them to find you and how can they connect with you?
Yeah. I mean, look me up on LinkedIn, Bryan Lake. You can find me at Sales Consultants of Grand Rapids. You're welcome to reach out to us as well. All of our information is on our website, which is scgrandrapids.com. Find us there.
Okay. That's great. And it's Bryan with a Bryan, Bryan. So
got it, Bryan with a Y.
Yeah, don't look for it. Don't look for it with the I, right? So again, Bryan, thanks so much. Thanks for watching this video. Go out there and make today great, guys, and keep watching for more videos, and best of luck to you in your search. Take care.
Thanks, Sid.